listening to the Post-Apocalyptic Media Podcast, your weekly post-apocalyptic news roundup.
Hello and welcome back to the 78th episode of the Post-Apocalyptic Media Podcast. I'm your host, Sean, senior editor here at post-apocalyptic.com. It is another news-filled week, and we have a lot of good news, actually. There's some good news. There's some announcements. There's some more information about, upcoming movies, things like that. So this is going to be a good podcast. Are you ready for a good podcast without any real bad news? I am, right? All right, so this first little bit of news here is about Furiosa. Mad Max Furiosa is the next movie coming out. It's supposed to come out in 2024, May 24th to be exact. And it's supposed to be a prequel to Fury Road. Of course, Fury Road, 2015. Charlize Theron played Furiosa. Well, now there's going to be a younger Furiosa played by Anya Taylor-Joy. And this is something, we knew this stuff already, right? This is kind of like the stuff that they've been talking about for a while. Well, last week, they released the actual official synopsis about Furiosa and what we can expect. And it's pretty interesting. So I'll read it and then I'll kind of talk about some of the little parts about it. So it says, as the world fell, young Furiosa is snatched from the green place of many mothers and falls into the hands of a great biker horde led by the warlord Dementis. Sweeping through the wasteland, they come across the Citadel, presided over by the Immortan Joe. While the two tyrants war for dominance, Furiosa must survive many trials as she puts together the means to find her way home. So that's that's a well-written synopsis. It kind of gives us a hint at certain things. Well, if we combine this with the information we've seen so far, there's some like behind-the-scenes spy shots that some fans have taken. We do know that some of the stars have been seen, here and there. Chris Hemsworth is going to be in it. Thor, Tom Burke. Nathan Jones is returning as Rictus Rectus, which is always fun to say. And so we do know, so we know the Citadel is going to be in it, right? We know that Immortan Joe is going to be in it, although it's not going to be Hugh Keys-Byrne because he actually passed away after Fury Road was shot. But, it's going to be a younger actor anyway. It's going to be a younger Immortan Joe anyway. So it'll be interesting to see who they get to. Maybe that'll be Tom Burke. I don't know. We'll see who's going to be Immortan Joe. So let's go through this a little bit more. So the Biker Horde, we did see in those early photographs, those kind of spy fan photographs, that it looked like the Rock Riders, right? I think I mentioned that last podcast. I know I wrote about it. The pictures, they look just like the Rock Riders. It was far away, so it's kind of hard to tell exactly, but I would almost bet money that was an early, kind of an early iteration of the Rock Riders that we saw in Fury Road. They had the same kind of bikes, the dirt bikes with the extended, back wheel, and then they had the same kinds of clothes that you could tell. So, it says that the Biker Horde is led by the warlord Dementis. In the game, the Mad Max game, there's Dr. Dementis. I don't know if it's the same guy, but it's important to note that Chris Hemsworth is rumored to be Warlord Dementis. So if he's playing Dementis, now here's the thing, like Rock Riders have these big helmets on, they cover up their face. I can't see Chris Hemsworth being in a movie where he covers up his face, right? I mean, I don't know. I don't see that happening. I don't see, if you can't tell, unless he takes his helmet off a lot and we can see that. But I talked about this last time that the Rock Riders were seen in Furiosa as far as the deal they were making, so it'll be pretty cool to see if that actually comes to term, if that's actually a thing where those are the Rock Riders, the biker horde. Also, we had the green place of many mothers making a return. We already knew You know, we already knew that Furiosa lived in the Green Place before. That's where she was headed in Fury Road. Spoiler alert. So, you know, we know that was kind of her home, right? So she's kidnapped from the Green Place in this story, and then she goes to the Citadel. So we're going to see that whole progression. I'm excited. I'm excited to see kind of the early versions of some of the stuff that we know and love from Fury Road. So it'll be good. I'm so excited about this movie. 2024. Whew. That's 9 years after the last movie. I mean, that's a long time, but I'm ready for it. It'll be a lot of fun. All right. Next, we do have some reviews, of course, on the site, and I do like to talk about these. Now, I want to talk about the two big ones I think that we have right now ongoing. Alone, season 9 is out. Tina's been doing a bang-up job of getting these reviews out on each episode of season 9. Alone is a great show. I absolutely love that show. I'm not caught up, and that's why I don't I don't really read the recap all the way, but I'm aware of it, right? I'm aware that the episode 5 one just came out 2 days ago. Tina wrote this up. And I like the way she wrote this. So here's what she says. Episode 5 of season 9 takes place over days 21 through 26. The 8 contestants still remain at the start of the episode. And then she goes on to talk. She warns that there's spoilers, but she goes on to talk about what happened in the episode and also her prediction for who might last until the end. So that's interesting. Haven't read it. Don't tell me any spoilers because I haven't seen the episode, but love that show. Absolutely love that show. The other review and recap that we're doing regularly now, Stephanie's doing, and it's Westworld. So Westworld season 4 just came out, episode 1, just the other day, 2 days ago. And from what I can tell, from what I read, I haven't seen it. This is like a recurring theme here. I haven't seen what I'm talking about on this show. But, life and all that. So Westworld season 4, episode 1, Stephanie says was a phenomenal start to the new season. She says the producers have really captured the essence of what made the earlier seasons so special, and I'm thoroughly confused about what's going on all over again. I love that line because it's so true, Season 1 was absolutely amazing. Season 2 was pretty good. Season 3, We'll pretend like season 3 didn't happen. So I'm excited that Stephanie's saying season 4, it's kind of going back to the earlier, what made the earlier season so special. So that's cool. Very excited about that. I'll probably check that out and then, talk about it here on the show. But again, I don't like to do spoilers on this show, so I probably won't, do that. All right. Next little bit of news we have is there's a new post-apocalyptic game coming out called Ashfall. And this is from John Garvin, he's a former studio director for games like Days Gone, Siphon Filter, Resistance, Uncharted. Uncharted, they just had the new TV show. Is it a TV show or a movie? I'm not even sure. But I haven't seen it. That recurring theme, I haven't seen it. But I'm aware of its existence. So John Garvin was the guy who, was a studio head during all this stuff. Those are big games, right? And that was while he was at Bend Studio, which is like a PlayStation exclusive studio. But his new game that he's working on is through his new studio, which is called Lithos. And it also has some PlayStation vets, Michael Mumbauer and Hedera Networks' Alex Russman. They're working on this game called Ashfall. And Ashfall is there's one piece of concept art that's out right now, and it shows Mount Rainier basically erupting. Mount Rainier near Seattle. So it's kind of a Pacific Northwest themed, Washington, Oregon kind of themed post-apocalyptic world, right? And the thing that they say is that it's what would happen after wildfires, ravage the area, also flooding and eruptions from Mount Rainier in that whole area. That whole area is called the Ring of Fire up there. And, there's Mount Everest and all that in that same area. So what would happen if all that stuff happened? And so it's kind of from that perspective. We don't know too much more about it. We don't even know if it's going to be like a PlayStation exclusive. But one thing I find interesting about this, so John Garvin is going to do this as a multimedia experience. It's not only the game, they're going to do a comic book, and the comic book is coming out in September of 2023. So about a year and a couple months from now. He says that the comic will be $100. Now, if you're thinking, what? Well, I wouldn't buy a comic for $100. Well, it includes a Founders Token NFT. Now, I'm not going to sit here and explain what NFT is, partially because I'm about 70% sure of what it is. But it's basically an exclusive right to a thing, and you pay money for it, and then you have that thing. And it's usually art or something like that. So this makes sense for a comic book. And that's yours. It's your thing. People are selling like memes from, the early 2000s somehow with an NFT license. I don't know how they're doing it. But anyway, that's what's being included with that the Ashfall comic book. It's being written by Garvin and then illustrated by Brett Booth, who he worked on Justice League of America, Stormwatch, Teen Titans, stuff like that. Great artist. So that, it should be interesting. And I'm also interested to see what else Lithos and Garvin can do, in addition to the game and the comic. Is there going to be a TV show? Is there going to be, who knows what else there will be. But it seems like it's going to be a pretty big deal. You have these big names behind it. Already the promise of a comic book with NFT and all that. So yeah, should be pretty cool to kind of follow that and see where it goes. All right. Next little bit of news. There's a new show coming out on AMC Plus, and it's called Moonhaven. Now, this show was announced a while back. It was like over a year now, maybe a year and a half ago. And it flew under my radar because it didn't look like a post-apocalyptic show, right? And so I didn't really think much about it. It does have, what's his name? Mary from Lord of the Rings, Dominic Moynihan. And, he was Charlie on Lost. It also has Joe Magniolo, who is, he's in Justice League, True Blood, all that stuff. It also has Kadeem Hardison. If you don't know who Kadeem Hardison is, then you're not as old as me. Kadeem Hardison was Dwayne Wayne on A Different World back in the early 90s. That was when I was in high school. I remember everyone was in A Different World. And Dwayne Wayne, he'll be in it. Also, Emma McDonald will be in it. So there's a roll call of Bella Sway. That's the character's name, and it will be played by Emma McDonald. Bella Sway is a cargo pilot, and she lands, she goes back and forth from the moon to Earth, and Earth is in a point where it's destroyed, right? It's not completely destroyed. There's still people living there, but it's in a really, really bad shape. So people are trying to reestablish a Garden of Eden on the moon, right? This is the story. And in this Garden of Eden on the moon, which is Moonhaven, they're trying to keep it like the best of the best, right? They're trying to keep it, and this was kind of the plot of what was it? A Boy and His Dog, I think, did that. But so you know what I mean? It's like the elite are living on the moon. They're trying to keep it, keep the earth, the dirty earthlings off of the moon. And so she's a cargo pilot, and she gets accused of a crime where she gets stuck on the moon. I don't know if she's jailed for the crime. It doesn't really elaborate on that, but she's stuck on the moon. And so from there, she's trying to save the world, basically. She's trying to establish figure out what it is that's going on behind the scenes of Moonhaven. So it's very dystopian. And from what I can tell, they have set photos. They have some great shots from the from the show itself. And there's also I don't know, there's like a little synopsis on IMDb and all that kind of stuff. So from all this stuff I've been able to gather, I would say that it is not post-apocalyptic. Does that mean we won't cover it on the website? I don't know. We'll see how it is, right? We're pretty loose about that. You know, if it's apocalyptic, if it's dystopian, and it's good, we'll cover it. You know, it only makes sense. So I'm looking forward to this. I think I'll check it out. It looks kind of 70-ish, like 70s-ish. There's a shot of Dominic Moynihan and you know, the whole crew behind him, and they have this like quilted uniform. You know what I mean? Like in the 70s and Star Trek and all that, everyone had quilted uniforms. Everything was quilted all the time. So that'll be interesting. It literally looks like a moving blanket. Like if he made a shirt out of a moving blanket, that's what he's wearing. So it's very retro sci-fi, which is cool. I love that. And it'll be cool to see kind of where this goes and if it actually becomes post-apocalyptic, like in a further season, because the Earth is in bad shape. You know, they're trying to move everyone up to the moon, which wouldn't work, by the way. The moon is very, very small. So it'll be interesting to see what they do with this. All right, this next little bit of news. I like this one. This is a fun one for me. Well, it's crazy. It's considered crazy news. I have it under the crazy news header, category. YouTuber almost dies traveling to Mad Max movie set because the outback is crazy, right? We already knew the outback is crazy. Anyone who lives in Australia knows the outback is crazy. So this guy named Andy Mai, who's 23, there's this whole story behind it, which I won't really get into the whole thing, but basically he had a rental car. It was a Mercedes, and he had it for a few days. I mean, what do you do when you get a rental car, right? You abuse the hell out of it, right? Say it with me, right? Abuse the hell out of it. So he gets it and he says, you know what? I'm going to go on a trip. I'm going to take a trip in this thing. Well, he found out later that he actually wasn't supposed to put as many miles on it as he did, or kilometers. So he's in Sydney. He gets this Mercedes. He says, I'm going to take a trip. He decides he's going to go out west, through New South Wales. And then he finds out, wait a minute, they're filming the Mad Max movie out there, out by Broken Hills and Silverton and all that on the west side of New South Wales, which is, it's the outback out there. It's hot. It's a desert. It's super, super cold at night, as deserts are. So he tells this whole story where he goes out there, he gets stuck in mud in his little, two-wheel drive Mercedes, and a family. There's this kid riding a dirt bike who finds him, and the whole family comes. They get him out of the mud. It's a crazy story. He's sleeping on the floor in this office building, this like abandoned office building, and he says he almost froze to death. So that's actually the part where he almost died. But he's doing all this because he wants to meet Chris Hemsworth. I talked about this earlier in this episode. All the people who are going to be in Furiosa. Well, not only did he want to meet Chris Hemsworth, but he also heard people say that the original Mad Max movies were filmed in that area, that whole Silverton area, which is true. So he wanted to check that out. Well, you can't take a little two-wheel drive Mercedes in the middle of the outback and expect to be fine. So that was that. Not a good idea. But here's the kicker here. I love this story. I love this guy's resolve and everything. He's so great. At the end, he says, so he never got to meet Hemsworth. And he says, next time I'm going to make sure I go to a film crew on a weekday. Wait, he did this on a weekend? That doesn't make any sense. And do it during the day so I can sort of blend in. Now I can prepare for next time. He's already preparing for next time. He didn't learn his lesson. He almost died and in the middle of the outback. And he's going to do, hey, if I lived in Sydney and the film location was only a couple hours away, I would probably do the same thing. Although I'd bring a four-wheel drive, right? Like a little ute or something like that. So yeah, I thought that was a crazy story. I wish him luck. Actually, knowing Chris Hemsworth, he would probably go meet this guy, right? Just to do it, I guess. I don't know. All right, next little bit of news. This is exciting news. Kyle MacLachlan, he played Paul Atreides on the original Dune, David Lynch's Dune in 1984, the one with Sting, you know that one? He is going to be in the Fallout series, Amazon's Fallout series. If you don't know, Amazon is working on a TV series all about Fallout. Very excited about it. I'm a huge Fallout fan. But yeah, Paul Atreides himself, the original, the OG Paul Atreides, he's going to be playing a part. Now, what's funny is Kyle MacLachlan is a pretty big star. Like Dune, that 1984 Dune was his first movie, if you can believe that. He got to work with Sting on his very first movie. Pretty cool. He's been in a lot of stuff since then, a lot of stuff. If you check out his IMDb page, it is packed. But one thing that he's, I think, probably most well known for is Twin Peaks. He played a pretty prominent role in Twin Peaks. So, he's gone through, he's a big star. He's gone through the trenches, you could say. And now he's going to be on the Fallout series. I'm excited. It adds cred, to this series. We don't know too much more about this series. We do know that Walter Goggins, who is on Justified, and Ella Purnell from Yellow Jackets, they're also going to be in this show. And it's also being developed by, in conjunction with Bethesda. Todd Howard's working on it and all that. But what we know is Walter Goggins is going to play a ghoul, right? What we don't know, and what we can only speculate on, is the fact that Walter Goggins, his ghoul character, might actually be the main protagonist. Tina wrote a whole article about this with some great points. So that would be cool if the main protagonist of the Fallout series is a ghoul, right? I'd watch that. All right. And finally, we have a story about The Walking Dead. I can't go an episode of this podcast without talking about The Walking Dead, right? It's not my favorite show, but it's this last season's pretty good. So anyway, there's a major omission in Emmy submissions for The Walking Dead, and it shocks Walking Dead fans. This is an article that Stephanie wrote. So what we're getting the nominations for the Emmy Awards are coming up, right? Walking Dead's last season was amazing. Walking Dead's last season happened during this time period that the Emmy nominations should be chosen from, right? But we have Melissa McBride, who plays Carol, Alicia Debnam Carey, who plays Alicia on Fear the Walking Dead, and Lauren Cohen, who plays Maggie, were not in the nomination list. So, I guess the one thing I think about this, which might kind of explain it, is is the fact that they've been, 12 years, right? 12 years Walking Dead's been going on. I forgot if they've actually been nominated before or won before. I think they have. But maybe, I don't know, maybe the people who are putting this together are like, well, let's look for new talent, right? Although it doesn't always work out like that, but maybe that's what they're looking for. But, so these shows are considered, the people in the shows are submitted for consideration as TV Insider reports. And this happened between June 1st, 2021 and May 31st, 2022. So that show had to have come out during that time to be considered, right? So yeah, that first chunk of The Walking Dead season 11 happened during this period. Well, maybe also, I don't know, maybe it's because the season's not done. Although that wouldn't really make sense either, but I don't know. I'm grasping for straws right here. But the Primetime Emmy Awards, the 72nd Primetime Emmy Awards, is going to come out on September 20th, 2022. Now, good news is we do have some nominees from the Walking Dead universe, right? They were included on the ballot back on June 27th is when the voting closed, but it just confused fans that a lot of these these other actors weren't included. So here's the nominations we have. We have Norman Reedus, who plays Daryl, and we have Lenny James, who plays Morgan on Fear the Walking Dead, right? They are both nominated for Best Lead Actor in a Drama Series. Or at least they're submissions. They're not nominated yet. They're submissions. Best Lead Actress in a Drama Series, we have Pollyanna McIntosh, who plays Jadis on Walking Dead World Beyond. We have Julia Ormond, who plays Elizabeth Kublek in World Beyond. We have Christian Serratos, who plays Rosita in The Walking Dead. Those are the three submissions from The Walking Dead universe for Best Lead Actress in a Drama Series. For Best Supporting Actor in a Drama Series, Jeffrey Dean Morgan, of course, who plays Negan. I say of course because the guy is like, I don't know, he's everywhere. Josh Hamilton, who plays Lance Hornsby, who we all hate, right? That sniveling little... And then Michael James Shaw, who plays Mercer on The Walking Dead, the main show. Ruben Blades, who plays Daniel on Fear the Walking Dead. And then Joe Holt, who plays Leo on The Walking Dead World Beyond. Those are all the nominations for Best Supporting Actor in a Drama Series. Now, Best Supporting Actress in a Drama Series. Eleanor Matsura, who plays Yumi. Paolo Lazaro, who plays Princess. Jenna Elfman, who plays June on Fear the Walking Dead. And Danae Garcia, who plays Luciana on Fear the Walking Dead. So it's good to see, we have those couple from Walking Dead and a couple from Fear in there. And then these last two, we have Best Guest Actor, Michael Bain, who plays Ian, the cult leader from Walking Dead, season 11, episode 13. And then Best Directing in a Drama Series is Lily Marier in Walking Dead episode 11, season 11, episode 15, Trust, which is a great episode. So I can see that one definitely being a good submission there. And then we have Best Actor in a Short Form Comedy or Drama Series submission. The Walking Dead universe is stretching into the comedy section now and Drama Series submission because of Dead in the Water, right? Nick Stahl plays Riley on Dead in the Water. He's a submission for a nominee on Best Actor in a Short Form Comedy or Drama Series. We have Outstanding Cinematography for a Single Camera Series submission, Cindy Hawkins in Fear the Walking Dead. And then Best Hosted Talk Show or Special submission with Talking Dead. Talking Dead, of course, is the follow-up show. It comes on after The Walking Dead, and it basically goes through everything. Right? It goes through all the each episode. So that's cool. That's even being considered for a nomination. According to Awards Watch, there were 134 total submissions for lead actor in a drama series and 114 total submissions for lead actress in a drama series. So that means the Walking Dead submission from AMC have a lot of competition. The ones I read, those were just Walking Dead universe submissions, right? So the next step would be nominee, and then the step after that would be winner. So we don't even know. People are just mad because there's, those stars that I mentioned earlier are not in there. Maggie, right? I mean, Maggie's a huge, huge part of The Walking Dead. Why is she not in there? Carol, come on, right? So, and Alicia too, she just exited the show. And there's actually speculation that she might join the Negan and Maggie spinoff, the one where they're going to Manhattan. That's not confirmed. It's something that Negan is basically saying, hey, join us. And she's like, yeah, I'd love to. And that's it. It would be cool, but, we don't know if that's going to happen. But anyway, so it's kind of strange since they're such big power players in the Walking Dead universe. I mean, especially Lisa. Like, I feel like Carol and Maggie are great. Of course, Maggie especially, she's been really, really prominent in this season. So yeah, I don't know. It's kind of weird. Only the people who decided on this really know what's going on. So, but as Stephanie points out, a lot of people were upset, and there was some pretty crazy stuff, So be sure to check out that article for more information. We also have tons more at the website. We have the YouTube Roundup, which I just finished up for today, which gives kind of the best of the week from YouTube. Different videos, they're short films and gameplay videos and scale model making videos, stuff like that I absolutely love. We also have all the reviews, many of which I mentioned. There's also a ton of stuff about Westworld Season 4, which I mentioned earlier. We have articles about where to watch it. We have the review. We have different articles about theories that are going on in the show itself. So that's a big one right now. And check us out on social media. We're everywhere. We're in pretty much every platform, plus Twitch. Now, Twitch is the one I talk about this every time, but it's a lot of fun. I'm having a lot of fun with Twitch. I'm currently streaming because it's a summer. I'm currently streaming 3 times a week. I've been doing Encased and Fallout 4 and Flotsam, and I have a bunch of other games. I just basically purchased recently on the Steam summer sale. So I'll be playing those too. So you can look forward to that. Tina and I, who, Tina normally records with me about once a month on here, we started another podcast called the Double Spaced Podcast, which is a podcast all about sci-fi writing. There's advice on writing. There's we talk about sci-fi books we're reading and kind of, discuss tropes and tips and all this different stuff that has to do with sci-fi writing. So check that out too. I'll put a link to that in the show notes for that, as well as everything I talked about, as I always do. So I want to thank everyone for listening. This has been fun. And until next week, be sure to stay alive out there and always be ready for the big one.